guys, I mean, would you mind grabbing a tray? Maybe doing a little walk around? And I'm going to separate the ribs now. This can get a little tricky, it can get a little slippery, I'm not going to lie. Usually I wear metal gloves, but I decided to skip that today. Mainly because I forgot it at home. But you just go one rib at a time. See, I'm bracing it with a towel. So I have to make sure that I'm curling each rib. So that way, nothing is going all over the place. I have total control of it.
Where's the line that you're cutting for the ribs?
The line?
Like where?
The line that I'm cutting is right where I made that initial incision. And the reason being is because I still want to have the option if I want to have a bone-in rib chop.
Oh.
If I didn't want to have a bone-in rib chop, I would take these bones off first, because right here I'm creating what's considered the spare rib. Does anyone know the difference between spare rib and the St. Louis rib and the baby back ribs?
Nope.
So the baby back ribs are the first 4 to 5 inches from the loin, from the spine. After that, those ones are really tender. You don't need to cook those nearly as long. And then after that, what's left after you harvest the belly, then you have these ribs, considered what's left over, the spare ribs. And then the difference between those, between the spare rib and the St. Louis, isn't where they come from, as far as city or state, but it's actually the fact that you take off that cartilage that I was talking about that goes to the breastbone. Spare rib just has everything that's quote unquote left over from the rest of the butchery. The St. Louis, what they actually do is they take all that cartilage off, and then that's the St. Louis. And then after that, if I was to take, so this is your spare rib, that's what's left. If I was to take off this part here, that would be then your St. Louis. And down here would be what's considered ribettes, or your riblets. And that's just cartilage there, and there's good meat in between there. But you're not going to be able to, suck it all off, have a great time with it. So what I have now left is essentially the loin. And the loin, this is the top side of the pig, so the pig's facing us like this. That's our guy Wilbur. Okay. It's good. Somebody else named it, I'm just following suit. So now these are the baby back ribs right here. Okay. These are all the baby back ribs. And this last rib bone actually indicates something. It indicates something on veal, it indicates something on lamb, it indicates something on beef. Does anyone know what that is? What the difference between this rib and this rib is? It's actually where the USDA actually splits those cattle and determine whether or not it's prime, choice, or select. They actually see the grading. So that way when they open it, it's between what we call the ribeye and the strip loin or sirloin ends. That last rib, the 13th bone, is where they cut that. And they don't cut it on every single animal. They'll have 10 cows come off of one line, and they'll cut maybe 2 or 3 off that to indicate what it is, and those cows would be deemed prime or choice or what have you. It's all based on the marbling. Marbling, how the fat content is actually included into the protein. The taste of it, there's the coloring of it. There's several different ways about that we're grading. So, but on a pig, there's no difference. You may see a little bit different in marbling, but really there's nothing that's really going to be that different. That's why you'll see, and I have them fall on in just a minute, you'll actually see whole loins be sold places like Costco or wherever, and it's a loin that's literally 2.5 feet long. And the reason is because there's no reason to differentiate it. You never see that on a cow. You never see a whole ribeye and a sirloin still connected, because there's such a difference in that meat as it progresses from the front of the cow to the end of the cow. On a pig, it's pretty much universal the whole way. So I'm still gonna make that incision just because I like to separate it there. I'm just going to cut that there. The ribs go at an angle, and I'm okay with that. Again, I just go right to the bone.
braided saw, or can you?
It's a meat saw. It's a meat saw. You can pick them at Surface. Pick them up at Surface for like $50. So, or you can just hire me and I'll come and do it. So this here is going to be the sirloin. I'm going to go ahead and take that off. I'm just following, just tracing. That's it. And I make it sound simple. I mean, really, that's what you're doing. I mean, like I said, the animal has a map to itself. Essentially, the thing is, there is that H-bone that we're talking about. It does pop up right here.
You find that bone on chickens too?
What's that, the H-bone?
H-bone on chickens?
I guess I'd say technically, yeah, there's a hip bone on the chickens.
There's a random bone when I cook it that I always have trouble with.
Well, right near the hip on chickens, you can actually, you'll see it, and I mean, we're all similar. We all have, pelvis. We do, and chickens do too. And any two-legged or even four-legged have that anatomy. But what you can do on a chicken, because they're actually smaller, you can carve it right out. I like to use the heel of my knife, and you come right down the backbone, and there's what we call the oyster. Anybody know what the oyster is on the chickens? The best part. Except for the gizzards.
I like it.
But you just come right around, you just kind of cut it right out at an angle, and then you'll be able to go straight down on a chicken. And that's the thing, I mean, it's about butchery. I mean, to be honest with you, it's just, you keep doing it, you start to learn it, That's honestly how I learned. I opened up a couple books, fell in love with it. Got a job with a chef that was really, really open to having new people come in and help him, and I was blessed with that opportunity. I just fell in love with it. And for me, it's about the transformation. What it goes from the whole animal to actually the food on my plate, or even the terrines and everything that you guys had. It's just about what you can do with the whole animal. Like the veal head and the gelée that we put out second, or even the head cheese. That was really all it was just raised products of the pig. The ears, the belly, a little bit of jowl, the tongue, the cheeks, and just let that kind of cook together. And then just took its own liquid, and all that natural collagen that comes out of that, just kind of gave it a little, what's called like a nappe, which is just giving it a little bit of coating of its own jelly, and just pressing it. And I put parsley in it. I mean, essentially all you ate was just the pig and its natural flavor with a little bit of parsley. I mean, it just goes to show you.